My name's Paul Boag and I'm the founder of a web design company called Headscape. I also do a web design podcast called boagworld.com, and that's a podcast for all those involved in designing, developing, but especially running websites on a kind of ongoing basis.
And why are you here today?
Well, I'm here because Take It On have asked me to talk a little bit about how to commission business websites, but I'm really here because I'm kind of passionate to help those poor individuals that get lumbered with the job of running their company's website. You know what it's like, it's just tagged onto your job and suddenly you find yourself responsible for this. And nobody gives you any training, there's no material out there really to help you. And I really want to see people kind of coming into that role and understanding what that role involves and also how to overcome the challenges associated.
Where should you begin when writing a brief?
You should begin by taking a massive step back, and you should start off by saying, why have you got a website? Or for that matter, what is the aim of your business? Let me show you what I mean, okay? So think of the kind of process as a pyramid, right? At the top of it, you've got your business objectives. Now your business objectives are basically, as I said, why does your site exist, okay? So for example, you might be selling frozen meals to old people, okay? That might be your business. Now, once you've established what your business is about, then you can decide what your site objectives are, okay? Now your site objectives are going to be obviously specific to your website. So it might be, in the case of that example, to increase the number of meals that you sell. It might be to increase the number of people subscribed to your newsletter, whatever else. But then, and the most important level when it comes to writing a brief, is your success criteria. Now your success criteria are very important because they are what defines the deliverables and what's delivered. So your success criteria are very specific. So it's like saying we want to increase sales by 20% by the end of the year, or we want a threefold increase in the number of people signed up for the newsletter. So your success criteria are your linchpin when it comes to writing your brief. And they're great because they justify your investment. You've got a measurable thing against which you can say, okay, has this website succeeded or failed? It improves communication because everybody knows what you're aiming towards. But the key is to be specific. If you're not specific, they won't succeed.
What are the big mistakes people make when writing a brief?
There are two big mistakes that people make regularly. The first is by not talking about budget. You need to talk to people about your budget. Now, you'll be worried because all the proposals you get back in will come in just under your budget, in the same way as estate agents always show you houses that you can only just afford. It's important because websites can cost depending on what your budget is available. But the other big problem that you often find when it comes to writing a brief is prioritizing a wish list. People write big wish lists of functionality they want, stuff they want on their website. Now, you've got to differentiate between what is vitally important and what you desperately need and what you would like. You need to prioritize your list. Get your web design agency to quote for the main content and then to give separate pricing for the wish list stuff. So you can pick and choose. If you do that, you'd be sorted.
How do you select an agency?
Selecting an agency is a tricky process, but one of the best things you can do to start with is to see whether they have understood your brief correctly. For example, have they looked at success criteria? Have they come up with answers of how they're going to achieve your success criteria? Have they demonstrated an understanding of your business objectives and your site objectives? Secondly, you need to see whether they've got a proven track record of developing the kind of site that you have. Have they worked with other similar organisations? That will help the learning curve massively because they'll already understand the kind of business objectives you're likely to have. But have they been willing to challenge and innovate as well? Have they turned around and said, well, I understand your success criteria and you've suggested you want to achieve it in this way, but we could achieve it in this way instead. Are they willing to challenge you? But finally, and notice this, value for money. Notice that I've put this last on the list, and I haven't said which is the cheapest. I've said which is the best value for money. Value for money is important, but it's not the be-all and end-all of your decision. Picking a web design agency is a lot more than picking the cheapest.